that took 56 days, forcing the government to engage in what he termed as a whole-nation approach at the KICC. And on the 8th of May, an agreement was reached, and the doctors called off their strike. 7 months later, they say that the agreements that they had actually come into with the government have not been implemented, and they are threatening that on the 1st of December, they will go on strike, paralyzing healthcare services across the country. Tonight, we sit down with the Secretary General of KMPDU, and that is Daji Atela, to make sense of this particular threat and what is happening in the healthcare system. My name is Brian Amuai, but first, top stories tonight. Tonight, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua forced to flee a burial service after goons disrupted the service in Limuru, Kiambu County. The IEBC grapples with a constitutional crisis due to the lack of commissioners and the lapse of timelines for the review of constituency and ward boundaries, which was due in March 2024.
Now Kenya is rebranding. Now Kenya is changing its name. We are changing party colors.
Now Kenya officially begins the process of leaving the Azimio coalition as it plans to have a different identity. And
Kenya's first free distributed newspaper since the year 2014 will be going green starting tomorrow.
Your favorite newspaper, The People Daily, will now be available digitally as part of a Go Green campaign.
We are going to conserve the environment by stopping cutting trees for print purposes.
All right, remember you can be part of the program by engaging us on our socials at Amuai Brian, that is on X at K24 TV. Do give us your feedback on exactly where you're watching us from and what you think about the stories you're running today, and also the conversation that we'll be having later on about the state of healthcare in the country as we count down to healthcare paralysis as far as services is concerned. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Clement Muli. Now let's begin on a political front. Impeached Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has accused the government of orchestrating a violent attack on him during a burial ceremony in Limuru. Now, in a detailed statement shared with the public, Gachagua revealed that the incident unfolded as he was heading to his car after the ceremony. He claims a group of goons approached him, hurling stones and striking his car with iron bars, forcing him to flee for his safety. What began as a solemn burial service turned chaotic, forcing the impeached deputy president to flee for safety. Gachagua has now squarely blamed the government for the attack, with his allies describing the event as an assassination attempt. In a Facebook post following the attack, Gachagua alleged that the government had withdrawn his security detail, leaving him vulnerable to such incidents. The statement reads, and I quote, "Earlier this week, the government withdrew the final aspects of my security that were in place following the impeachment process we are contesting. While we chose not to raise an issue with the decision, it was expected that anyone who has served at my level in government will be accorded protection even after leaving office. It now appears this move was deliberate to leave me exposed to attacks like the one witnessed today. This is a sad state of affairs and a major low for the government, which seems complicit in these actions." The burial service for Elias Mwangi started peacefully but descended into chaos towards the end. Goons attacked the VIP tent hosting Gachagua and his allies, with chairs flying and attendees scrambling for safety. Limuru MP John Liragu, a staunch supporter of President William Ruto, notably sat in a different section of the venue, away from Gachagua. He later condemned the chaos, which is believed to have been politically motivated due to Gachagua's growing influence in the Mount Kenya region.
Former Deputy President, you know, if the government assesses and we present or somebody presents a case, it should be reviewed, and it should be made sure that he is safe, like all of us, because I would imagine he is not just an ordinary person.
We shall hold the state culpable for that. Hii sio serikali ya kwanza. Serikali zimekuwa mingi, duniani mzima kuna serikali na kukosolewa ni kawaida.
Kadhabishwa na hilo jambo sana, tunaombea familia kabisa, na pia tunaomba msamaha kwa wanafamilia, sababu hakuna mtu mwenye anaweza tarajia jambo kama hili linaweza tendeka katika shughuli ya mazishi ya mwenda zao.
The chaos comes on the heels of a scathing attack Gachagua launched against the Ruto-led administration just last week. He vowed to provide political direction to the people of Mount Kenya, a region that has been a stronghold for President Ruto in the coming days. Brian Amoai, K24. All right, now the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC Chief Executive Officer, that is Marjan Hussein Marjan, has revealed that the commission is currently incapacitated and unable to perform its constitutional mandate due to its incomplete reconstitution. Marjan emphasized that the commission cannot conduct by-elections or carry out the critical delimitation or electoral boundaries as required under Article 989 of the Constitution. Ian Keitani now reports on the growing concerns over the legal and political implications of this vacuum.
As public frustration mounts over the government's failure to reconstitute the IEBC, CEO Marjan Hussein Marjan has laid bare the challenges facing the commission.
The IEBC has not undertaken the delimitation of the boundaries owing to vacancies in the membership of the IEBC, which was rightly quoted in the appeal number 40 of 2023. The IEBC Secretariat cannot conduct functions under Article 88 of the Constitution, which was actually put by the complainant, by the petitioner, that the IEBC cannot be able to work in the absence of the commissioners, in as far as what the Constitution requires it.
According to Marjan, the Commission cannot conduct by-elections across the country, with the IEBC yet to be fully reconstituted. Constituencies such as Banissa, Ugunja, Gwasi and Magarini remain without representation, with Banissa particularly affected, having been without an MP for 18 months following the death of Kulo Hassan in March 2023. Article 89 of the Constitution mandates the review of constituency names and boundaries every 8 to 12 years, a period that lapsed in March 2024.
Failure to conduct boundaries limitation will likely to result into legal challenges, as well as compromising the right to fair representation, political stability, social cohesion, and electoral integrity. In fact, the term of the commissioners who remained behind after the 4 resigned ended on 17th January 2023. But prior to that, the IEBC had prepared a boundaries review operations plan to provide a roadmap for the delimitation exercise.
The IEBC now faces a legal and procedural vacuum, with its CEO, Marjan Hussein Marjan, warning of significant risk to the country's political stability and electoral preparedness. Marjan, speaking before the National Assembly's Petition Committee, revealed that the Commission had sought the Supreme Court's advisory on whether it could proceed with the delimitation exercise without commissioners, and if constitutional timelines could be extended. The delimitation exercise, last conducted in 2012, is crucial to maintaining equitable representation and the constitutional cap of 290 constituencies. Marjan emphasized that the review must be completed at least 1 year before the 2027 general elections to ensure proper electoral mapping. The IEBC has operated without commissioners since January 2023, following the exit of Chairman Wafula Chebukati and Commissioners Boy Amolu and Abdi Gulie. Their departures were compounded by the removal of 4 other commissioners, Juliana Cherera, Francis Wanderi, Justus Nyangaya, and Irene Masit, after their dissent during the 2022 presidential election results. This leadership void has sparked public outcry, with Kenyans, especially the youth, demanding the reconstitution of the IEBC during the recent nationwide demonstrations. The Commission now awaits a Supreme Court directive to determine its next steps, even as time runs out on critical constitutional obligations. Ian Keitani, K24 TV, Nairobi.
All right, now NAC delegates have ratified the decision by the NAC Kenya party to exit the Azimio coalition formally as part of its rejuvenation plan ahead of the 2027 elections. The party intends to rebrand by changing its name, symbol and colors. But the withdrawal of NAC Kenya, an affiliate that produced the coalition running mate, is just but the beginning of a collapse of a once formidable coalition that gave President William Ruto a run for his money in the 2022 and opposition. And as Martin Opio reports, more withdrawals are lined up in Azimio, spelling doom for the coalition.
4 months after putting out a notification to exit the Azimio coalition, NAC Kenya party leader Martha Karua has been given a go-ahead by delegates to leave the coalition. The party produced a coalition running mate who was to deputize ODM's Raila Odinga in the event they won the 2022 election.
And as we review things here, there is a seal of approval for the steps we have taken. We entered into an Azimio to liberate Kenyans from the ills bedeviling the country.
Karua claims that the coalition's purpose and motive for Kenyans changed from what they planned ahead of the 2022 election, putting the blame squarely on ODM, who are the majority in the coalition. She says she is ready for talks with other like-minded leaders. NAC Kenya will have to wait for the 90 days to lapse for the Registrar of Political Parties to ratify and convey the formal exit. The party is planning a complete rebranding and rejuvenation and is set to receive a new look 18 years after it was launched. This includes a change in the constitution where term limits will be placed on leadership position.
Is rebranding. NAC Kenya is changing its name. We are changing party colors, but we are waiting for the process at the Registrar of Political Parties to come to a close. But today, these national delegates have given the National Executive permission to go ahead with the rebranding exercise. They have also given us permission to amend our constitution. We wish to be the first party in Kenya, that is the party constitution, to have term limits for the leadership of the party.
The exit of NAC Kenya from Azimio coalition now spells doom for the troubled coalition, as some of the members have also declared their intent to exit the coalition as the realignment for the 2027 election takes shape. Already, DAPK's Eugene Wamalwa has indicated his intent to exit the coalition after claiming that ODM was in government and still wanted to be in opposition. Jubilee's Jeremiah Kioni is in a quagmire on the party's future in the coalition, as his party leader is the chair of Azimio coalition and has since the last Jubilee delegates conference in April last year kept off local politics. Kalonzo on his part is seen to be making forays in central Kenya with several meetings aimed at wooing the region. Despite his support for Odinga in the previous elections, Kalonzo seems less interested in Odinga's support and has continued to pitch in the new territory of the mountain. On Wednesday, Gikuyu, Embu and Meru elders in a ritual ceremony officially welcomed back the Kamba community into Gema. Speaker after speaker showered praise on Kalonzo Musyoka, an indication that Kalonzo is planning an exit from the coalition, with his side settled on a new coalition with the mountain. Odinga's dalliance with the president has been said to be one of the reasons for the collapse of the coalition. Azimio in the first months of President Ruto's presidency led a spirited fight in checking government excesses, including leading the 2023 mega demos against president's policies that led to the formation of the National Dialogue Committee, NADCO. Martin Opio, K24 TV, Nairobi.
All right, now Cabinet Secretary John Badi has reassured Kenyans that there will be no financial repercussions following the cancellation of the Adani energy deal, as announced by President William Ruto during the State of the Nation address. Badi stated that he is confident the cancellation will not result in any cost, as the contract related to the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport was still in progress. However, the National Assembly's Debt and Privatization Committee has issued a stern warning that any misuse of taxpayers' money will lead to personal accountability for those involved. Joel Chacha now reports. What began as a solemn burial service turned chaotic, forcing the impeached deputy president to flee for safety. Gachagua has now squared. All right, now we do apologize for that particular report. The mix-up there, we'll be getting to that later on. Moving on. Now, President William Ruto has issued a one-week deadline to 34 government executive heads to implement digital payment systems or face a disciplinary action. Now, speaking during the first anniversary of the e-Citizen relaunch at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, KICC, the president expressed dissatisfaction with the slow rollout of digitized services despite its potential to revolutionize service delivery. Only 13 million Kenyans currently use the platform. Timothy Simwa reports on the government's push to fast-track digital transformation. All right, we'll be coming to that particular report when we come back from this particular break. And also remember that we'll be having a conversation later on the state of healthcare as we count down to healthcare paralysis services in the country, with KMPDU saying that they are going to announce a strike beginning December 1st. All right, we take a break. We will be back in a few.